Hello, gorgeous soul. Welcome to Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. I'm Susie, and this podcast helps you navigate your journey through the crossroads by taking a deeper look into witchcraft and spirituality. So settle in, grab your beverage of choice, and let's get this episode going. What is up, gorgeous soul? I am back, feeling a lot better. Y'all need to make sure you hydrate, take your elderberry. I like to take elderberry. Take your vitamins, wash your hands because yikes. A lot of people getting sick out there. So, and because of that, this episode is coming to you just a tad bit late. I do apologize. But this is why I dropped two episodes this week. This was the episode I wanted to drop last week because I am talking to you about Krampus. This, and I know I'm not the only one, but this was such a fairly new story to me that my jaw nearly dropped on the freaking floor when I heard about it. And I would freaking bust out laughing when I heard about this story. First, I was like, shut up. And then I was like, damn. So I had to share it with you. I know most of you have already heard or know about the history of Krampus, but I got to share it anyway because, hey, why not? This is also a gentle reminder that next week on Wednesday, I am hosting my community Elevate Your Practice Reiki session. It is via Zoom. You don't got to turn your camera on. You just be open to receiving some amazing Reiki energy, especially those of you out there that always deal with the public. If you're a coach or a mentor or you channel yourself, please, my spiritual witches and baddies, you need to replenish your own cup as well. So, whether it not be with me, remember that you also need to receive good healing energy. So that's just a little quick PSA. But I do host these at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Elevate Your Practice is not only Reiki being sent to you, but I also pull a tarot card as well as do some candle work to help those that are in the Reiki session. So I know you don't want to miss it. I totally know that. So again, this will be next week, December 18th. I have all the links in the show notes. All right, let's get it started. Krampus. And I'm sure by now you probably have seen a bunch of videos about the Krampus parade. I That always trips me out because those costumes are like hella cool. Um, and it's really looking at it like seeing all of the Halloween costumes. And it's really cool. The legend of Krampus is so amazing to me. And when we have these parades, or I haven't been to, any of these parades, but they are starting to gain popularity, and you can actually see. I know I had read that San Antonio, hey, San Antonio, Texas, I see you hosting your first Krampus parade. Um, and yeah, I just seeing the Krampus parade is, going through the neighborhoods or, like essentially think of it almost like a Thanksgiving fucking parade, but this is where people dress as this mythological creature and you just see their menacing self and really bringing part of that Yuletide lore. And when you see it in other European countries, you see these Krampus, they're freaking tall with their horns, and it's it's jaw-dropping, y'all. Like it is really cool. So if you can, Google the Krampus parades. Just take just take a few moments to look at a few videos. TikTok is still available to us here in the States with all that madness and craziness going on. So, boom, get it. Like you can type that in, your feed's gonna be full of it. Full of those videos of the Krampus parade. All right, but Susie, what the fuck is a Krampus? I've never heard of it. All right, so I know we all know Santa Claus or great old Saint Nick, right? Saint Nicholas. We know that good old Santa Claus, if you've been a very good boy or girl, he rewards you with presents and treats usually, right? So we understand that Santa Claus works one night a year and gives presents to all the good boys and girls of the world. And if you were not a good boy and you were not a good girl, then your stocking would be filled with coal or a lump of coal. And this happens around December, Christmas time. But now you're like, okay, dude, I totally know who Santa is. So who's Krampus? All right, Krampus. Depending on where you check your history, right? Is said to be half man, half goat, although some other variations say half demon, half goat. And just like Saint Nick, he comes around every year, but he doesn't leave you anything good. If you've been good, cool, you're all Santa Claus. If you've been naughty, if you've been bad, okay, it's been said that this half man or demon and half goat every year would either chase the naughty children, eat the naughty children, or drag them to the underworld or hell. Holy shit. Like, okay, if it sucks either way, right? I'm gonna take a sip of water. So it sucks either way, right? If you're naughty, you see everybody else opening up all their gifts and their presents, and you're stuck with a freaking lump of coal. On the other hand, though, either you have the fear of being eaten or just chased around or dragged to the underworld or hell. Like, gosh damn. So there's different, European variations or versions of this, but it's basically the punishment for those naughty boys and girls. And I know some people said it originated in Germany. I did see Germany, but I also saw the folklore being from Austria's Alpine region specifically, where Krampus has been frightening children and apparently amusing the adults. So it's like, oh shit, when you got tired parents, right? And they're just, tired of their kids acting out, whatever, misbehaving. I would think that they're amused if Krampus came in and were just like chasing their kids around, like, oh, that's what you get. I don't think they'd be amused if Krampus was eating their kids or dragging them to the underworld. I don't think that's where the amusement would lie. But again, who knows? I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'd be amused, right? But um, so a lot of this is like starts happening around the winter solstice. Krampus and Santa Claus or Saint Nicholas, but they do have their origins obviously in pagan celebrations, right? These pagan celebrations of the winter solstice, which you will hear an episode later on next week. But then we see um, when, the Christians become religion coming out, and like everything else, it's like fucking take it. But later they do become part of Christian traditions where Santa Claus would visit and reward good boys and girls around December 5th or 6th. And around that time, Krampus, so they're working together. They're like besties. So Krampus would also visit kids around that time to punish them. So in Alpine Austria and some parts of Germany, this day was known as it's called Krampus night. I need to do my Google voice to see how to pronounce this, but Krampus night, but it's Krampus night. And this is where the adults might dress up as Krampus to frighten the children in their home. So, we got, people dressing up as Santa and, rewarding, giving out, gifts. And then we have the other adults where they dress up as Krampus and then they're terrorizing the kids. So children might see Krampus running through the streets during Krampus night. And it's literally called a Krampus run. So if if Krampus if Krampus Day night is tied to a specific day, this was a way for, I guess the adults to let off a little steam. And it was usually the men that would run through the streets and be this fearsome creature. Because I really do want you to look up these videos and see what Krampus looks like. And especially if you haven't seen the movie, which I'll get into later, but if I were to see this thing at night and I was a little kid, yeah, it would probably scare the crap out of you, right? Because damn, you have these huge tall ass men dressed as this half man, half goat thing with the horns and just kind of like moving through the shadows of fuck yeah, it would be, it would shake me. But that's the point, right? That's the point for kids to learn. And the reason this just tickles me is because this is just such a darker side of Yule. So if you were to step out right now, right, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, I step out and you just see the soft glow of Christmas lights. There's a crisp chill in the air. Um, you have people that are caroling, and there's just a lot of joy and merriment because, the festive season's coming around and gifts. If you don't, if you're not crazy at going shopping and dealing with all that madness, but it's really like just the joy of giving, right? Just giving what you can, especially around this time, especially around Yule, where back, way back, where this was a time where hopefully your harvest was bountiful because this winter can be such a harsh time. So this was a time where we were very neighborly, give where we could. And in this jolly festive season of Santa Claus and reindeer, we have this side of Krampus, which is fucking fearsome. And this creature with fur and horns and hooves, just lurking in the shadow, terrorizing fucking kids, but not just any kids, just the naughty ones, right? So I think that's where I'm just like, okay, we have this eerie, scary thing amidst this jolly, happy time. So that him working with Santa or Saint Nick, it's it really, really does paint that light like that makes sense, right? The quote unquote the light and the dark. But I love it. Okay. So the name Krampus is derived from an old High German word Krampen, which means claw. So apparently this is fitting considering Krampus's depiction, but it's like he's a beastly creature. And apparently he's got long talon fingers. So that's how he manages to snatch away mischievous children. But then I guess so the hind legs are hooves. I guess that's the goat part. So when we assimilate it into Christian tradition, started by the pagans, by the Middle Ages, Krampus had found his place with Christian winter festivities. But this is particularly in the Alpine regions because, like I said, um, I hadn't heard of Krampus until I was way, way older. Like older, I want to say my late 20s. Um, in countries like Austria, Germany, December 5th became known as, Krampus night, where people would dress up and chase and terrify the bad children. But that's not anything I would remember. Because here in the States, when Santa comes, it's not the start of December, it's at the end of December. So if I were to think of Krampus, right, I would look at like Christmas Eve, where Santa's coming, there's Krampus. And apparently, the church and governments tried to ban or suppress Krampus celebrations, of course, because they're too pagan, right? Destructive and probably don't be scaring kids half to death. But it still thrives. And this is why I love my TikTok because I see so many parts of the world and their celebrations and their traditions, and I think it's so beautiful. So, like I said, it's, you know, get gaining traction, and a lot of it is through the media. Like I said, TikTok, social media, movies now. Okay. So Krampus was released in 2015 and it portrayed a creature in modern light, sparking interest among the unfamiliar with the legend. And that's where I was like, okay, I get it. Um, but also there's events mainly in Europe, but as you can see, the US is starting to have these annual Krampus parades or Krampus runs, which I think is pretty cool. I love these cultural exchanges. Um, all right, let's see. What else did this I found super cool. So, a haunted Christmas experience in Columbus, Ohio. So apparently, Columbus, Ohio is really taking the Krampus story and embracing that rich history and hosting an event. So I'm just going to read verbatim what I found here. Imagine wandering through snow-laden forests only to hear a distant jingle of chains or encountering a village preparing for a Krampusnacht. And the air is thick with tension. But this is not just about fear, it is about storytelling, history, and culture. Interactive Columbus Christmas light displays delve into the origins of Krampus, offering visitors a chance to learn while they experience the legend firsthand. Live performances, art installations, and even food trucks, photo ops, and games provide a multifaceted encounter with this iconic creature. And that's fucking cool. And that's when I found that San Antonio, Texas just had their first Krampus parade. The Krampus tale is really that testament to enduring power, the empowerment of folklore. And the way that as human beings we are really fascinated with, good and bad and the light and the dark and the good versus evil kind of thing. And to have this story really journeying all the way from the Alpine villages to cities here in the States. It's that appeal, especially when we see that, hey, this is a fearsome beast. And even though it's there to set an not to set an example, but to set and tell us and remind us that, yeah, we have freedoms to do what we want, but there's still consequences to the actions. And Krampus's presence is undeniably fucking scary, right? Because it is, even Krampus itself is a symbol of rebellion, especially against our holiday narrative here. Like I said, we have the lights, we're all cozy, and then we have this beast where even some people were like, "Ooh, Krampus is half demon, half goat. It's gonna take your kid, eat it, and take it back down to the underworld, or take it to the underworld." But really, we didn't even know, us Americans didn't know about this tradition of Krampus. And now are really sitting in the rich history of it. I thought it was something else. I love this legend of Krampus really having this dark tradition marrying and intertwining with the lightness of it too, especially if he works hand in hand with Santa Claus, Saint Nick. I love it. It was just something where I I thought, you know what? If the kids were good, you won't be kidnapped or eaten or swatted, I guess. And it's best to wake up with gifts from Santa or Saint Nick than to be chased down in the darkness by some beast, because you've been naughty. So I don't know. I think that would set a lot of kids straight. And to be honest, hey, maybe it would even this pagan ritual might even set some older kids at heart, straight. I don't want some half goat, half man demon chasing me in the middle of the night outside, freaking cold out there. Nor do I want to get eaten. Mm-mm-mm. I don't. No, thank you. Getting back into the folklore, I got went on a little tangent there, but some do believe that Krampus, obviously has pagan origins, but that he is actually the child of Hel, the Norse goddess of the underworld. And yet another theory is that Krampus is a representation of the horned god of witches. There was an article written about Krampus in 1958 by folklorist Maurice Bruce, and he wrote, there seems to be little doubt about his true identity, for in no other form is the full regalia of the horned god of witches so well preserved. The birch, apart from its phallic significance, may have a connection with the initiation rites of certain witch covens, rites which entail binding and scouring as a form of a mock death. Like I said, there's many different origin stories, and we really don't know which is correct and which isn't. But the legend of Krampus has become associated with the holiday of Christmas, even during its European conversion of Christianity. This really deeply rooted pagan tradition obviously pissed off the Christians because it wasn't successful in taking that out, nixing that out. And it's still seen as fun, right? There's a lot of folklore stories where it's a warning to people and sometimes even to kids because hey, as kids, nothing can ever happen to us, right? We can never die. Nothing ever bad's gonna happen. And these stories help to keep some of these kids safe as well. So, whether it's Krampus or La Llorona, a lot of a lot of these stories take shape and evolve as the years come go by. But just like Santa Claus, Saint Nicholas is a jolly old soul. We got Krampus here in all his glory as well, really expanding in popularity, coming full circle as a symbol to show that, hey, you can't always hide. You can't always like not get your comeuppance, especially if you've been naughty. So let me know what you think of Krampus. I would love to know if any of my listeners are out there and you have taken part of a Krampus parade or if this has always been part of your tradition. I find this so fascinating and I would love to hear from you. You can reach me on the socials. I'm on Instagram at Susie's Enchanted Crossroads. Still on TikTok. We'll see what's going on here in the States come January 19th. That's a separate rant for another day. And if all else fails, you can shoot me an email at Susie's Enchanted Crossroads at gmail.com. I got all those links here in the show notes, so you don't gotta write anything down. You can just scroll on down and click the link. If there's any other tradition or you have an idea or a topic, question, there's also a link there for you to fill out, submit it, and let's get let's get let's get some research going. I would love to read those. What else? What else? I hope to see you next week, Friday, for Elevate Your Practice Reiki. I also have going on right now your year ahead spread with tarot. So basically, you and I, we pull some cards, and this would be your year ahead spread for 2025. My year ahead spreads, as I explain to clients, can be purchased throughout the year because I do have some clients that love to purchase this in December to get the cards to be pulled starting in January. I do have clients that have started in spring where that's like the true wheel and when we're coming out and starting coming out of our hibernation. That's cool too. And I have had a client actually say that they like to have their year ahead spread begin before their actual birthday, like the birthday. So it's instead of having a birthday spread, it's like the year ahead spread starting on the birthday. So whatever floats your boat, I do have that going on right now. If you would love to bring in the new year with a card spread, cards will be pulled for every day of the month. And I guess that's it for me, gorgeous soul. I will catch you at the crossroads.